Hello ladies and gentlemen, Panzer here and welcome to Aragami. Now for those of you who were around for that, I did play this on stream yesterday and I played it for about 3 hours, so that's how far I am into the game. So anything that you see here is taken from that point, so assuming that the developer's notes are correct and that this is approximately a 10+ hour game, then we're about a third of the way through it, or thereabouts. So bear in mind there might be some story spoilers for this, but I'll be trying to avoid that as much as possible. But anyway, this is Aragami. So what is Aragami? Aragami is a stealth action game where you play as this ninja right here, clad in red and black. You are a ninja assassin who's made entirely out of shadows, and there is this light and shadow theme going on throughout the game's story. Now, I have heard that this is inspired by Tenchu, and unfortunately that's not a game I've played, so I can't really draw too many comparisons to that, but I can compare it to some contemporary games, and I will do so as we get along. Now, before we get into it, let's just jump into the options. Hopefully this music that's playing in the background doesn't get claimed, because this is a really, really good sort of soundtrack here, which you can get off Steam together with the game. Just into the options, this game is made in Unity, and thankfully does not have a Unity style options menu. There are a fair few options here. You've got field of view. This game is in third person, so FOV not being too big of a deal, and 55 might seem like it's not a lot. It's actually enough for this game. Considering how far away the camera is, it's perfectly fine. And the camera is surprisingly intelligent. So we've got a lot of options here. Most of this is on high. We don't really need to worry about that. I'm not running it on full screen. It doesn't have borderless by default, or a borderless option, which is what I would consider a minus point. I do like to run most things in borderless, but running it in a window still sort of works. And of course, audio controls. Interestingly enough, it's measured in decibels and not percentages, which is just something I've noticed. Anyway, so we're going to continue here. We're here at chapter 5 now, and let's jump straight into it. Alright, here we go. So where I am in the story, actually, I'm not going to say, so that it doesn't spoil anything. Right, so typical stealth game. Walk is your default, and then we've got our sprint here, which makes a lot of noise, and then crouch, which hides us slightly as well as makes us quieter. Now, so I did mention there were some light and shadow themes. So the enemies here are all sort of warriors of light. Everything they do has light, and nearly all of them have ranged abilities. You cannot fight anybody head-on. This is an even less forgiving stealth game than Styx Master of Shadows, which was known for being particularly hard in the combat. This has pretty much no combat. If you fight somebody head-on, you're dead. So this right here is your blink ability. Now this uses a tiny amount of your shadow energy, and you can teleport to anywhere within range. I'll just demonstrate. This blue zone is where I can teleport to, and it's only places that have shadows. So you see here, this is lit. I can't go there. Same with this, where the lamp is. I can't go there. But another thing about the lamps, any light sources, or bright light sources, will actually drain your energy as well as reveal you, so you don't really want to do that. But what your shadow can do is it can go through basically wherever you can see. So I can see through this gap in the fence, I can go there. And that is completely silent. It's also useful for dodging enemies, since they seem to lose line of sight with you if you do that. So, up to this point I've been playing this non-lethal. Now you can stealth kill enemies, but I've kind of been avoiding doing that, because here's the thing, this game you can kill everybody in a level to progress, or you can do it completely silently and not kill anyone, and that is a valid option. That is something you can do. Now most surfaces that are in shadow can be jumped to, like this. So now we're up here, I can even go down there. You can see right there, I can go there, inside this building. So basically right now I need to go over to that side, where this big bridge is where I need to go. You can see there's a little thing there on the screen for me to do this aerial kill. Which I don't know if I want to do, because there is another guy patrolling around. I'm not sure if I'm going to do that. And it's a good thing I didn't, because that guy is right there, and he would have seen it, because this guy is standing in the light. And that's something you have to pay attention to. Killing enemies does generate a fair amount of sound. So it might be a stealth kill, but anybody sort of what you'd expect to be earshot of it can actually hear it. Now, the guards are your typical sort of dumb AI, but they're not too stupid. They seem to behave exactly, or more or less, what you'd expect a human to be able to do, but of course with the sort of allowances for a stealth game. So, let's see if we can get past this guy over here. Now, we have an ability, if I just hit E. And this is a short-range pulse that lets us see enemies through walls, and see the direction that they're facing, which is quite useful. But that uses up one of the glyphs on the back of our cloak there that you can see. And that's recharged only at shrines. So while our main abilities charge while we're in shadow, this one requires a shrine to charge. And shrines are quite few and far between. There's a couple at the start of each level, so you can recharge it, but you're not going to see one mid-level very often. Right, so there's a few things we can do here. I could try to jump over there. Now you can see that the cursor does actually show a little blue circle to show where I can teleport to. That obviously is too far away. And let's see if I can demonstrate this. Yeah, where it's red, that's within the line of sight of a guard. So even if I were to be able to teleport there, he would see it. So not exactly a smart idea there. So let's jump over here. Let me just demonstrate what a stealth kill might look like if we want to do one. So I'm going to go over here. Get behind this guard. This guy might see us. And we go behind him, hit space, and it's done. So that's kind of how stealth kills work. Now we can't carry the bodies away, which is what you'd expect most stealth games to be able to do. But you do have an ability, and I can show this. We have a skill tree here, and we can gain the ability to dissolve bodies. Somewhere. There it is. So we can make the guard disappear. And if guards discover bodies, they raise the alarm, they go on alert, and so on and so forth. And you do lose points. So there is a sort of competitive aspect to this game as well. The higher amount of points gets you a higher rank, but also the time taken to clear each level also gains you points. So right now, the killing that guy is kind of unnecessary, but I just wanted to demonstrate how that sort of works. Now, we can't really do it from the front, and if the guy is alert, we definitely can't do it at all. So, not really much point in trying it. Right, so in there is a little orb that we have to destroy, and that will disable one of these big glowing orbs over there, which are magical barriers of light. And we need to be able to disable it. So, since this guy is right in front of it, that's going to be a little bit tricky, and I don't think he patrols, so that's going to make things a little bit harder. However, I do have a noisemaker. So these guys are going to investigate there. And let's see if I can make this happen. I'm going to cast a bit of shadow over there and teleport up. Okay, so they haven't seen anything yet. So I'm going to need to do this quickly. And then I have no way out. And he's seen me. And you do die very, very quickly. So, like I said, you can't fight anyone head on. So that's a very tricky one to do. That's a shrine, by the way. So that's where you recharge your special abilities. So, it is quite a challenging stealth game. But it is entirely possible to not only do it fast, but also to do it without killing a single person. And like I said, up till this point, I actually haven't killed anybody. And there is an achievement for that. Alright, so that guy with the bow can actually see me. And he's detected me. So that's another thing that these guys can do. If you walk across that beam, they can detect you, and they will. And they won't be too happy about you being there. But as you saw earlier, even the melee enemies have a short-range attack as well. So running away from them is a little bit tricky without clever use of shadow. So we could actually go this way, which is the way we went earlier. And we can go around them instead. But we do still have to disable that barrier, so that is proving to be a little bit tricky. So I'm going to try to do this in the way I have been before. But instead, I'm going to lure these guys over here instead. When they come over here, I'm going to jump behind them. And that's kind of how it's done. So these guys are none the wiser. And I'm going to just jump behind and go underneath the building. Let's jump over here. And we've been seen. So that's the other thing that the archers do, is they leave these sort of glowing things when they want to inspect something. And that can not only reveal you, but it also drains energy because it's a source of light. So that's another thing to be aware of. So I've just kind of got to wait for him to put his bow down. And we'll go. They're basically the snipers. If you've ever played a Splinter Cell game, they're the snipers. But as far as this game overall goes, I think if we were to compare this to sort of contemporary games right now, this would probably be best described as a combination of Assassin's Creed and Dishonored. And you can see exactly why with these blinking abilities. They definitely are very Dishonored-like. Which I don't know if that could be an actual genre, but certainly very much like it. Alright, so there's a shadow on the other side of that gate, so what I'm going to do is going to create a shadow there and blink twice, and there we go. It uses a lot of energy doing that, but if you're quick enough, you can get through without being seen. Now, if you explore a little bit more, you'll find things like this, which is a little hiding space above the ceiling. So crawling through air vents is not something that this game shies away from. It's just the ancient Japanese version of air vents, essentially. But yeah, while it does definitely play on many of the tropes of a lot of, I would say, modern stealth games, it definitely has a style of its own. And speaking of style, the graphical style, the art style of this game, it's very graphic novel. Very much like a graphic novel, and I mean, it looks a little bit like Borderlands, a little bit like that sort of hand-drawn style that you might see in games like Aragami, maybe. But definitely, it looks like it's ripped from the pages of a comic book, and it really works very, very well. And not a big indie team that made this, as far as I know, so, you know, props to them. Overall, would I recommend this game? I think when it comes to just what you can get for a stealth game nowadays, there aren't too many games to choose from. I mean, every game seems to do stealth slightly differently, and realistically, I don't think there are too many games out there that do stealth very well. I mean, there is Dishonored, and of course the upcoming Dishonored 2, but as far as big AAAs go, even those are tuned towards being a little bit more fast-paced, a little bit more action-oriented as well. While there are ways of playing that in a very stealth-oriented fashion, the game certainly caters to both crowds in a very particular way. Whereas this, it's you can go through being completely lethal, or you can go through being completely silent. The choice is yours. However, the game definitely seems to be geared towards pure stealth. Maybe that's just my opinion in the way that I play, but it definitely seems like it works with stealth very, very well. But let me know what you guys think down in the comments below. Is this the sort of stealth game that, you know, we've been needing? Or maybe there are better ones out there? Let me know what you think down in the comments below. And thank you very much for watching. My name is Panzer, taking a look at Aragami. It's now available on Steam for about $20 or your regional equivalent. And go and check it out if this interests you. And I'll see you next time.